Welcome back to another episode of Artist to Artist, presented by Christian Hudley Productions. Yeah. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's Artist Republic. You know who it is. All right. Once again, also, if you want to get music coaching, you want to get music lessons, you want to get advice, you want to get everything, hit up 11 Music Career Center. They're homies. They're sponsoring an episode. Not exactly. I'm not getting paid. We're doing it because we like them and they're awesome. And you should like them too. So go to turnup to11.com. And with that, welcome back to another episode. And what we're going to be talking about today, or should I say who we're going to be talking to today, is Ajna Hales from Westside, LA. He is a 22-year-old rapper with an insane flow and a sound to match. He's on his way to greatness with a Spotify that has well over 7,000 monthly listeners, and his song Take Me Back has already gained nearly 55,000 streams since its release and continues to grow. So with that, let's bring him onto the podcast and let's learn more about his career in the music industry. Let's get it.
I'm 22. I'm not born, but all raised in LA. I've been here since I was like 2 or 3. I was born in New York, but I don't really remember it at all. I grew up like basketball kid, played varsity all 3, like since sophomore year. Always big into sports, baseball, basketball, and shit. I didn't start making music till my senior, like graduating high school, basically. So I really got into it then. My dad was like a working musician in New York. He was in a bunch of bands and shit. But I've just always been in and around music, always loved music, but didn't really get into it until about 18, so about 4 years ago.
Cool. And so since getting into it, what are some of the highlights? What are some of the things that you've been able to accomplish as an artist?
I mean, it's all about just been building a fan base at this point. I feel like this recent year, I've finally started to get like a little bit of traction and just like people have started gravitating towards the shit I'm doing more. So that's been really cool. I feel like recently I've like found my voice more as an artist on like what I want to make. And I feel like people have for sure recognized that. I don't think there's always as an artist, like you always feel like you could be doing more. You always feel like you could be further, but I'm definitely I'm trying to be better at like appreciating how far I've come type shit. But yeah, just that definitely like there's people that genuinely like look forward to me dropping music now. And that's like probably the biggest accomplishment for me.
That's sweet, man. And it's always like, I always like to tell artists, like, it's baby steps. It's always going to be baby steps. Even when you get to where you thought you wanted to be, it's baby steps from there. You just got to keep walking. But, for you, what is kind of your philosophy on music? What is that thing that you're trying to get across with what you write and what you make?
I mean, really, whenever I write, it's just whatever I feel in the moment. A lot of the time, it's me listening to the beat first, and then whatever that makes me feel or tells me, I'll just go ahead and write. Sometimes I have something I really want to get off my chest, and I'll write before, and then we'll build shit around it. But it's really just self-expression for me. Like, that's always what it's been. That's what I started making music for. Just like, it's always been like a way for me to get shit off my chest. And so, yeah, it's just been cool to finally be able to do that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And I think there are some artists out there that don't necessarily see it that way, where, for you, it's like you write for you write to get stuff off your chest. You're not, maybe I'm wrong here, but you don't necessarily write for the people that listen. It's for you.
Most definitely. I'm trying to find a nice balance at this point, because I feel like it's something you have to do, but I definitely write for me at the end of the day.
And I think in recent times, there's been a lot of artists, big and small, that have started to realize that fact. And, they don't cut corners to make other people happy, that they're doing it for themselves. Mm-hmm. It's their form of self-expression, just kind of like with you.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's really cool. I think a lot of artists should gravitate in that direction. Granted, like you said, there should be kind of a fine balance, of course. You don't want to keep making stuff that nobody likes, because then where are you going to go?
Exactly.
Kind of going off of that, Christian, too, before you go on your next question, which is like, it's almost better. It's like the devil versus the one you don't. Like, you have no idea what people are going to like. but you do know what you're going to like. And so hopefully there is a more of a chance that you're going to like something and be like, this is good. And then other people are going to be like, yeah, this is good. Instead of being like, I thought you were going to like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
and
why didn't you like that?
It's also funny too, because even there's also some times where like I'll like something when I first make it, and then like I'll sit with it for a bit and I'm like, I don't really like this, but like I'll send it to the people around me and they'll be like, no, this is like super hard, and like the people I play it for will really like it. So like a lot of the time what you necessarily like isn't always like exactly what everyone else will love.
Yeah.
And you're your own self-critic too. You know, you're gonna make something and you're gonna love it at first, and then you're gonna think about it, and then that's when the anxiety kicks in, and you're like, you know what, this is horrible, I hate it.
Yeah, and then you might have one person that like you really trust. It's like, oh, I don't really like this one, and then it completely changes how you feel about a song.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
it's an interesting concept, but I feel like that's just how it is in the creative industry. You know,
for sure.
You're always gonna hate the last thing that you did, but you're gonna love the next thing that you do until you make the next thing after that.
Yeah.
But
that's a good point.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, it's not as it's not as analytical as like marketing.
No, for sure. I think artists just by nature are super insecure. So like everything that comes with insecurity just makes it really complicated.
I think so. Nick, you look like you're thinking about something. What you thinking about?
I just think that's an interesting point, because like there is so much of music that is psychological, and I don't think people have talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
Where like, there is a lot of psychologicalness behind music. And what causes an artist to put out a song or not put out another song, or what causes something to resonate with some people and not with other people. And yeah, that's intriguing, especially the insecurity part of it, which is kind of ironic. Which is very ironic.
Yeah,
you're insecure, but you're also putting yourself out there for people to poke holes in your insecurity.
Yeah, it's like finding a balance. It's funny because like I feel like a lot of my writing's super personal, but like at the time of writing it, it's really, really easy. And like when I'm insecure about some shit, it's not because of like what I said. It's just like, oh, do I think people are gonna like it? Like I've never like wrote about my life and been like, oh, are people gonna like make fun of me? Type shit. Like I've never had that, but it's always like, oh, is this good enough? Like, oh, are people gonna like really mess with this? You know?
It's that vulnerability. It's vulnerability that I think eventually people start thinking like, it's not that bad. People, fans, supporters, people like it when their favorite artist is able to be vulnerable about where they're at in life. I think it just comes off as genuine,
Yeah, I think being genuine is everything. Like I've definitely noticed like the more personal I am, like even if that like video or song doesn't get like as much overall traction, people like really, really mess with it heavy. So like, and that builds like a core fan base, which is what you need more than anything.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before on the podcast that artists, especially smaller artists, don't need a whole lot of general fans. They need a small amount of super fans, because it's those super fans that are going to make sure that you're able to thrive and survive in this industry. Nick, what was it that we said? It was like if you have, it was like 1,000.
1,000.
Yeah, like 1,000 true fans
that you make $100 a year off of. You make $100,000 a year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the super fans are the ones that are gonna buy the vinyl. The super fans are gonna buy the merch, the hoodie, like whatever it is. Because like streaming, if you own everything, you can make good money off streaming, but it's never gonna amount to like you being able to go and just sell something that's $15 to $40.
Right.
Yeah. And you got to do a lot of streaming to make $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
A gross amount of streaming.
You got to do a lot. You got to do millions of streams a year.
Oh
to
yeah.
make $100,000 a year.
Definitely.
And that's big. And then like, that's hard to do. But what's not hard to do, well, not as hard to do, is to get 20,000 streams a month, and then have half of those being super fans who then follow you on Instagram, and then half of those people buy a hoodie one time a year, or buy a ticket to a concert, and then it scales from there.
Yeah. I think that's definitely something I'm trying to work towards. I feel like at this point, like I have a lot of like onlookers, like people that'll like check out what I'm doing, but I don't have enough people that like are super invested. Like I feel like I have like how there's always that like followers versus fans
Yep.
argument thing. I feel like I'm in the stage where I'm trying to convert a lot of people from just followers into fans.
So let's talk about that. What's kind of your roadmap and your kind of goal for how you want to convert followers into fans?
I think just being consistent. In the past, like I've always been making music. I just like the social media and everything stuff doesn't come as naturally to me. So I kind of have to force myself to like kind of put myself out there. So that's definitely been a challenge, but I've been getting way more comfortable with it. And then also just meeting people that are like reliable and like that I'm cool with, that like do visual stuff. So like my boy Jax, he's this 17-year-old kid, crazy, but like he'll shoot anything for me, like that, like it's my brother type shit. Like we could shoot anything, like, oh, I have a freestyle, oh, let's go shoot it like the next day. Like so I can go and post like high quality things like at least twice a month, and people see that, and the more and more they see it, like, oh, like they'll see one they really like and like, oh, I really like this, so then the next one they're looking for it, and then the next one they're looking for it, and after they're like, oh, this guy's super dope, the next song I'm looking for it. So it's all just a process. I feel like I'm definitely on the right path, and things have started like rolling really recently, so I'm not like super stressing the timeline or anything, but I'm definitely happy with where things are going.
I think.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right.
Go.
One thing I like about this podcast is we get to talk to artists from all different backgrounds and all different levels of their career. And, like the last guy that we just talked to, he's done so many things with his career. He's gone on tours. He's like worked with Phoebe Bridgers and opened up for bands and like all this crazy good stuff. Then we talked to guys like you who are closer to like the start of their career, and it's cool to get that insight, right? It's like you're able to provide something to people that are listening to this that might be at the same point as you. They're not just listening to that guy who's already done it.
For sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's hard a lot of the times when you're only listening to people that are like so far ahead of you, because you get like it's like this, like it's like a catch up thing, like, oh, I'm not where I need to be, like everyone's so far ahead of me. And I feel like a lot of people give up because they see that and they're like, oh, I could never, there's so much work for me to get to that point. And I feel like that's why you really have to love, like if you're doing this, I feel like you really have to love it. Like there's people that make different types of music, maybe they don't like it as much, they're in it for other reasons, but in my opinion, like if you want to do this for a long time, I feel like you really have to love it.
And you have to do it for the right reasons. If you do something for money, money's not going to come. Like I always tell people, if you chase a cat, you'll never catch the cat. But if you have food, the cat will come to you.
For sure.
And it's the same thing with life. Like if you just chase money every day, you're not going to get money.
Yeah.
But if you just bring value and focus on being like making food, then the cat will come. And and that how you make that food goes into kind of the other thing of like, exactly, like people like to compare people's like step 10 to their step 1. And it's like, just get 1% better than the day you were before, and you will be 365% better by the end of the year. You keep doing that every single day, and before you know it, you will be at that person's step 10 when they were at that step 10, and I think artists really need to take that in the scenario. Like, I mean, I don't know why I'm thinking about it off the top of my head, but Meek Mill just came to the top of my head. So many people will compare like, oh my God, he's killing it, he's doing all this stuff. And it's like, but what if you could interview 13-year-old Meek Mill that was just on the streets, just started recording freestyles? Would you be jealous of him then? No, because you are where he was when he was 13. So now you need to think about that. Okay, what steps did he take? Where did he go? And that's I think is a big thing for a lot of artists to see, is like we're all at different stages in our careers. We're all at different stages of success, and where are you and how do you get to that next stage?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, also the Meek Mill, all the freestyles are crazy.
Oh yeah, they're crazy.
Have you heard have you heard the knowledge flips of them?
Yeah,
crazy. Super
I bet
fire.
I got like deep dive on Meek Mill after his documentary came out, and I went like deep into like old Meek Mill for like 2 weeks and just found everything. And then it was like, oh God, I ended up in a wormhole. I was need to get out of this. And but yeah. So with that, Christian, I'm passing it back off to you. I'm passing the speaking baton.
So a lot of people like to latch onto those success stories, right? A lot of people see the success that these people have and they think, wow, they must have gotten that from one night they were just, sleeping in a studio apartment, and the next day their music blew up and they had a mansion. A lot of people don't realize that stuff takes years and years of work. So with you, you said you started just out of high school, and so that's like what, 17, 18, and now you're 22. So in your 4 years of hard work, what are some takeaways in terms of like your career as a whole?
Biggest takeaway, I would say, like, for people who are just starting, is when you think you're working hard, you're not working as hard as you think you're working. I think that's a big thing. Like in the very beginning, I was like, oh, I'm working so hard, I want this so bad. I wasn't working that hard. If I was working as hard as I have been for like the past like 6 months, like if I was working that hard back then, I feel like I'd be way further on now. But I'm super blessed and happy with the timeline that everything's taken. I feel like things are falling into place at the right time. And if I had, there's been opportunities and things that have fallen through that haven't worked out for whatever reason. And I'm very happy they didn't, because I don't think at the time I was ready artistically, as a person, or anything. So I'm super happy with how everything's worked out. And yeah, you're not working as hard as you think you're working.
Yeah.
I like that.
I always say that if you think you're working hard, agreed, you're not working hard enough. I always say, if you say that you're not working hard enough, that's when you're working hard. Like when you wake up in the middle of the night being like, no, I need to get back to work. Or like you make dinner and instead of watching Netflix, you're like, nah, I need to get back to work. That's when you're working hard enough. When you tell yourself, I'm not working hard enough, that's when you're working your ass off.
Yeah.
And definitely. I think that, because then you became your own worst critic, and you are now at that level where you're pushing yourself, and that's where you work hard. With that though, speaking of pushing yourself, we're gonna push your mind, because we're gonna break into a lightning round. We're just gonna ask you the randomest questions that we find on the internet, and you just have to say the first thing that comes to your mind.
Sounds good.
Christian, you can kick us off this time.
Oh, I'll kick it off. What? I am so curious about this one. What would be the absolute worst name that you could give your child?
Samantha.
Samantha.
Sorry to Samantha. I'm not rocking with Samantha.
Okay, I'm about that. Samantha, fuck you.
Damn, I am sorry for any Samanthas listening. Oh my God. Okay.
That was so quick too. Like that was just like waiting. You were waiting for someone to ask you that.
It's a lightning round.
So quick. What would be the worst thing that the government can make illegal?
Happiness. I don't know.
I like that.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Christian.
Okay.
Lightning.
What inanimate object do you wish that you could just eliminate from existence?
Shoeboxes.
Shoeboxes.
Too many shoeboxes. I'm a sneakerhead, and I keep way too many boxes that I don't need.
So do you take the shoes out of the box, or do you keep them stored in the box?
I keep them in the box, but it just takes up too much space. I have to get one of those things, like those racks where like you can put sneakers in each thing. I need to get one of those. Definitely next on the list.
I mean, I'm not much of a sneakerhead myself, but like when you get the boxes, aren't the boxes part of the value?
If you're reselling them, yeah. Oh, okay. But I wear most of my sneakers, so like the resale value is trash after that anyways.
I got
you. No, but if you're not wearing them, you for sure have to keep the box.
Yeah. All right. If you were arrested with no explanation, what would your family and friends assume you did?
probably something stupid, trespassing, driving while smoking or some shit. Something dumb.
Sounds stupid. Classic.
All
All
right,
right, Christian, close us off.
I got one more. This is a good one. If peanut butter wasn't called peanut butter, what would it be called?
Greatness.
Greatness. You a big
I
peanut
love
butter guy?
peanut butter.
Yeah,
Greatness
me too.
in a
Big
jar.
Greatness
Big
in a
peanut butter
jar.
guy.
I like that.
$2.99. Get your greatness in a jar. All right. Well, with that, the lightning round is over. So Christian,
Yes.
I'm gonna have you kick us off because you're just a way better question guy than me. I like to just
That's fair.
mic drop knowledge.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have you kick us off with the first question, the second half.
I'm gonna lead you off on this one, Nick. So, Ajna, when you are talking about getting your music heard by people, we like to talk a little bit about marketing, right? Because marketing is a huge part of getting your music out there. What are some of the techniques that you've done to get people to listen and get that music heard?
One of the biggest things is obviously word of mouth is huge, but I feel like at a certain point it only gets you so far. I feel like people really like to see you doing, like, as silly as it is, like people checking your Instagram and seeing what's happening over there is like a big thing. Seeing like how much they'll support you. They see you with like 200 followers. Someone's like way less inclined to be like share it to a friend, like, oh, this is super hard. But marketing, paid advertising is very underrated. There's a stigma around paid advertising, right? Like, oh, it's buying followers, blah, blah, blah. YouTube ads are great if you know how to run them. Instagram, Facebook ads, everything like that. And then just like more organic stuff, like every time, like I'll through TuneCore, like with this distributing a song, like I'll pitch it to the Spotify editors, and then like, so that's how I ended up. The most recent song I put out got on Fresh Finds, so that was like a huge thing. So I have a bunch of new ears listening to the music, which is always great. New people hit you up, but yeah, like any way that you can get your music or your brand in front of new people, that's all you have to do. Just be consistent with content and get it in front of people.
I think that's a really good point when you talk about, there's a kind of like that stigma around paying for your advertisements, right? Paying for followers, as a lot of people like to say. It's funny because the way that the world works, unfortunately, is that you have to pay no matter where you're at. Whether you're an independent artist or if you're with a label, you're still paying something to get something. I think that's a big misconception that a lot of people have, is like, if a lot of people think like, oh, if I grow everything organically, that's what's going to make me big. Justin Bieber did it on YouTube, so why can't I? But Justin Bieber did it on YouTube in late 2000s, 2008. Yeah. So the world's a lot different. And now everyone is out here trying to market their music in new and interesting ways.
Sorry to cut you off.
No,
even a lot of the things that look organic aren't organic
at
like
all.
There's so much behind all your favorite label artists. There's so much money behind them, and that's not a knock in any way, shape, or form. No. Behind every artist is a ton of money. It doesn't matter if you have crummy content. If you have content that's not good, it doesn't matter how much money you have behind you. It's not going to do anything. You put great content in front of people, you'll see results instantly.
Yeah. And I think like artists are so quick to be like, yo, I listened to Jay-Z and I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman. But then when it comes to marketing, they're like, nah, I'm going to do it organically. And it's like, when you launch a business, like if you want to be a business, and let's think about it as a business, when you launch a business, you don't launch it and DM your mom and you're like, hey mom, I just launched a clothing store, buy my clothes. Like you don't just go out on your Instagram like, hey guys, I just launched a business, buy my stuff. Like you're like, hey, I now have to go do marketing. I got to call local stores. I'm doing an apparel company. I got to call local stores. I got to get my apparel there. I got to put out Facebook ads. I got to put out Google ads. I got to go get influencers to wear my clothes. I got to take pictures. And like, but when it comes to music, people are like, nah, I'm just going to put it out there and DM, swipe up. But like, and then they have that stigma around like, oh, I don't pay to promote my music. And it's like, yeah, don't get me wrong. Things can go viral, but not every company goes viral. IBM did not become $1 billion business by going viral. You know, Amazon and Apple and all these companies did not become $1 billion business by going viral. Drake did not become a millionaire by going viral. They've had a lot of money, a lot of tactics. Buying a playlist, you need to think about that from a business expense as, getting in a blog. And you're looking at, advertising to release a new song is like dropping a new product. Like, you need to compare that stuff to business. And if you do that, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm just reinvesting money into my career to then grow it, to then get more money out.
Exactly.
And as sad as it is to say, I think there is that stigma that started, probably 20, 30 years ago of like, oh, I don't want to pay to play. Like every, as sad as it is, everything in the world is pay to play. There's that old saying of like, you need to, spend money to make money. And, cause organic and, groundwork goes far, but it only goes so far. And then you have to start the air game. And then, I think that's where a lot of artists, kind of hold themselves back because they're afraid to start that air game. They don't know how to start it. They, they have that bad stigma, or people are not going to like me because, I'm spending money on advertising. And it's like, no, that's just the next step in your career.
Yeah. I mean, it can be threatening too, because people say everyone in the world is going to see it. Like, it's not just, oh, boy, I know from up the street. It's not just people, it's anyone in the world can see it, and everyone has an opinion. So I feel like you also have to be ready to put yourself in front of the world, which is a big step for a lot of people too.
Yeah.
And I think,
oh yeah, no, I get that.
I think a lot of people see it as a gamble, right? They've worked so hard to make this money doing whatever they do day to day, and they don't want to take that money and gamble it away. They're scared of losing it on, that paid ad or that playlisting curator or whatever people say to use to increase your music, right? Then
we'll just use Artist Republic. We back all of our services with a refund. So if you don't like what you get your money back.
True.
It's great. Not a plug over here.
Just a big plug. No big deal. massive plug. But no, Christian, I think you're 100% accurate on that. And it's, I always say, like, you live your life as soon as you step out of your comfort zone. And I think, a lot of people don't want to step out of that comfort zone and then are like, why am I not where I want to be? And it's like, just take one tiny step outside of that box. Boom, life.
Yeah. And the thing is too, the people around you just might not listen to the stuff that you make. Like, they might not be your target audience. Like, you might make like some crazy like indie pop, and that's not what the people around you are listening to. So that's the only way you're gonna get like people that you like. That's the only way you're gonna get fans, is if you put it in front of people that want to hear it.
Remember, you don't pick your market picks you. That is the rule of life, no matter where you are. With that though, speaking of rules of life, unless you have any other contingencies over there, Christian, I'm going to steal the last question from you again.
No, go for it, man. It's all you.
Because I want to. Because for the viewers out there, I will be gone for the next couple of weeks. I know it's so sad. There'll be someone replacing me for the next couple of weeks. But with that, to end the last question, what is your one piece of advice that you would give to anybody listening that is in the same shoes as you, was in the same shoes as you? Like, what is any advice that you would give to them to keep them moving to the next level of their career?
I would say, one, make what you like, because then at the end of the day, the results aren't going to mean as much because you like what you're making. Two, you're a day away from a huge win, or literally a life-changing win. You could have months of just nothing happening, stagnant, and get hit up by one person that changes your entire life. One song, one moment, one conversation can change a lot. Make what you like, keep going, and that's pretty much it. That's what I do. Like, there's days where things suck. There's days where I'm like, I'm not doing enough. Like, things aren't happening, and then I'll get a win, and it'll all feel worth it. And that's kind of what keeps me going.
Rest assured, man, you got the right mindset. That's for sure.
Yeah, I love it. Well, with that, we cannot thank you enough for hopping on the podcast. For those people out there that are listening, if you want me to come back, leave a 5-star rating. I'm just kidding. I'm coming back either way, but you should leave a 5-star rating because it'd be kind of cool. With that, thank you again for having on the podcast. We wish you the best of luck with everything. If you ever need anything and you ever want to you leave that other distribution company that starts with a T that we don't really talk about here, Artist Republic is great.
We'll definitely have a conversation.
Hey, well, we'll be here for it. Thank you so much for hopping on. And yeah, we're out this week. See y'all next week.
I got bad habits. I go to sleep at 6 a.m. so I can stay balanced. I know I lost my sanity, but see, I found some talent. I'm trying to find humanity, but man, that's been a challenge. There ain't no way around it. I've got to go hard. I'm just surrounded by people that don't want chrome heart. Ayy, they try and go far and they go yard. Soon as they touch down in the city, they still want more bras. Weird life they lead, but shit, they got the keys in. I'm still out here trying to make it. They be like, who is he? Man, just wait. I swear that I'm on my way. I'm running right to the cake, just like I ain't eating in days. I'm saying, ayy, I got bad habits. No matter what, I think that I need more practice. I really sit and daydream about a tour happening. When I really stay asleep with the alarm blasting. I got bad habits. I really hope that I could get past it. Are they for real? Do they think that I won't kill? Man, a beat I touch, I get a rush that lead me to the mill. Yeah, I'll take a deal, say how I feel. I ain't off a pill. I'd rather lose it all than have to write a will. Ain't that ironic? And had shit up in my pocket. Used to take the 14 down Bundy, thought I was hot shit. Humble beginnings, that act like that shit shocking. I'm the first Westside nigga since Earl to go get it poppin'. I come from big beaches and white teachers that know nothing. I knew a lot about math, yet I was still flunking. I don't relate to people. I used to hate these people. They got the world on their side, but we the crazy people. Ayy, I got bad habits. I go to sleep at 6 a.m. so I can stay balanced. I know I lost my sanity, but see, I found my talent. I'm trying to find humanity, but that shit been a challenge. But I got bad habits. Really hope that I could get past it.